Hey, Taylor Elwood here. Sorry about that. Mic wasn't on. Now it is. And I'm back. Yes, I am back. I have been gone for, I haven't done a video like this for the last month or so, and it's because I was in the process of moving. And you can kind of tell because, well, the background isn't quite the same as it was anymore. There's no picture over here, and my whiteboard's over there for now. We're still getting things set up, but for the most part, it's all set up, and I'm pretty happy, and I can't wait to show amazing pictures of the place. But I'm back. So, yes, I've missed all of you out there in video land, and I'm glad to be back here with you, kind of checking in and everything. And I thought what I would do today, I was originally going to do a video on a different topic, but I'm going to save that for another day. But I thought what I would do today is end up talking about doing magical work to aid in the passing of a loved one. And the reason I'm doing that is because, well, I had a loved one pass in my life recently. My father died earlier this week. And it was one of those cases where it was, it was going to happen. I mean, like, it wasn't a shock that it happened, but even as prepared as anyone can be, it still can be an experience that can be hard. In my particular case, back when I knew that my father was, in a situation where, his health wasn't so great, I decided to go ahead and start doing some spiritual work to basically help with the transition. Now, when I talk about doing spiritual work to help someone pass on, I'm not talking about doing magic in order for a person to die. I'm talking about doing spiritual work where you're very much doing it with the permission of the person. The way that I always frame it is, if I'm doing this work to help somebody pass on, I'm doing it with the notion that that person on some level or another is going to necessarily need to agree to it. And so if they don't, then the magical working won't happen. But if they do, then it will. And in the case of my father, really the work that I did ended up involving a couple different things. And I was working off of a book called the Mysteries of Dying and Death. In fact, I'm going to go get it here real quick, so I'll be right back. I'm coming back. Okay, so I'm back, and this is the book I'm talking about. It's called The Mysteries of Dying and Death. It's by R.J. Stewart. Highly recommend picking it up if you can get it. It's all about in some ways it's tradition specific because it's within the intertemple of interconvocation practices, but it also does have some stuff that I think would be useful to anyone who's having to prepare for either their own death at some point or helping someone they love pass on. In the case of my father, the work that I did really revolved around, kind of doing like a vigil for the dying, when I knew that he was dying, and really just kind of holding space with his spirit and letting him know it was okay to pass on if he wanted to. Some of the work involved untying any karmic knots that he had, connecting him to this world so that he could move on if he wanted to. And then finally, once he died, the day I found out, the first thing I did when I came home was I actually did a ritual, a vigil for the dead, where I basically just communed with his spirit and communed with him, and just kind of checked in and let him know that I was okay with him moving on. I know it probably seems odd in a way when we talk about magical work, doing magical work for this purpose, because so much of magical work is focused on anything but I think it's important to have rituals to honor the dying of and the death of a person, whether it's yourself or someone else. And for me, it's helped immensely just in terms of being able to process what happened, and at the same time really being there for him in a way that where I felt like I could honor him, because anything that was happening was not being done from a place of, well, this is going to be done against your will. It was all done with the notion of, this is being done with your permission. If some part of you wants to pass on, then that's why this is being done. And if you don't want to pass on, then nothing's being done. And I think that's a very important distinction, that if you're going to do magical work for that purpose, to aid someone to help them pass on, you're doing it really with with their permission. It may not necessarily be verbal permission, but you're setting up the magical working so that it does not happen unless they are in agreement with it. In the case with my father, it was very much a case of like with the undoing of the karmic knots. It was really like, here, I want to be able to free you from any attachments to this world, so that when you're ready to pass on, nothing's holding you back. And with the vigils that I did, it was very much, again, an honoring of his presence and his space and who he is and was, and just kind of letting him know it was okay to move on when and if he was ready. And once he actually passed on, it was really about creating a space for him to get accustomed to this new state of being. Now, that's my metaphysics, and some people might say, well, okay, Taylor, that's great. Do you even know if that's really true? All I can tell you is that I felt his presence strongly on the day that he died, and once I did the vigil for the dead, and then I got a sense of peace and love. Maybe that was all in my head, but the fact of the matter is, it felt that way, and I felt that way since then, and continuing to do this work and just kind of continuing to, let him go. And really, I think with this kind of work, when you're helping someone to pass on, it is as much about you letting go as it is about helping them let go. You don't want to hold them back from moving on to wherever they're going to move to. And that's really how I felt about it, is that this was really about honoring my father, being there for him, holding space, but also allowing him to transition on, and really being able to let go myself. Do I feel sad that he's died? Of course I do. I mean, he died only a few days ago. I found myself teary-eyed earlier today about it when I was thinking about him. But knowing that I did that magical work to help him transition on, knowing that I was there for him in that way, really helped me feel better about the whole process. And I realized that it was as much about helping me to let go as it was about helping him to move on. And I think that when we approach death in that way, we have a healthier relationship with it, because we do realize that death is a transition. It is, a person moving from one state of being to another, but it's also about letting go for the people who are left. It's helping them grieve, but it's also helping them move on and let go and be able to really, not in any way, shape, or form, hold this person back from wherever they need to be. And so I think it's important to have some kind of ritual practice that allows for that. And then, of course, when you get to the point when you may be dying, which in my case, I hope is a long time from now, being able to do that kind of working yourself. I know certainly that when the time comes and I am ready to pass on, I will be doing magical work for that purpose. Probably something similar to what I did for my father, but only applying it to myself, so that I can fully move on and fully honor myself, and at the same time help the people who are left be able to, pass on, or be able to let go, and to know that they can be at peace with that. Anyway, I just wanted to share this with you, and thank you for watching. And I'm back, so you'll see more videos soon. It's just been a little while since, obviously, I was in the midst of a move. Take care and have a great and wonderful day.